Our final honoree is Sister Kathy Nerney, Associate Professor of Religious Studies, Director and Founder of the Institute for Forgiveness and Reconciliation. Tributes will be given by Dr. Scott Browning, Professor of Psychology, and alumna Danielle Rossi, Adjunct Professor of Fine Arts.
Sister Kathy Nerney, with Sister Carol's blessing, started the Institute of Forgiveness and Reconciliation. I thought, what an interesting idea. I'd attended a lecture that Sister Kathy had given on Northern Ireland, Rwanda, and the process of forgiveness. It was totally brilliant, but it was also practical. For Sister Kathy, the intellectual process is wonderful, but it's putting this concept into practice that strongly drives her. Sister Kathy in the Institute brought both Father John Deere and Dr. George Lakey to the college, and each gave a lecture. They both established to a level that completely convinced me that protest of what was wrong was what was right. In Sister Kathy, in a quiet and kind way, challenges us not to accept that the revenge mentality has any place. This is a rebellion, since so many have their first rush of emotion tied to revenge when hurt. The meetings of the Institute were meditative, invigorating, and compelling. We had to exchange personal opinions and then move on to the business of making forgiveness and reconciliation part of the community itself. Sister Kathy is a teacher who changes lives. In her forgiveness class, the entire semester revolves around that topic, forgiveness of oneself and of others. As strongly as Sister Kathy believes in forgiveness, she once told me she would not have created the Institute if her decision to include reconciliation was not viewed as necessary. Returning to the class, these students read the most intellectual articles and then look at forgiveness within their lives and then create a 2-hour program to introduce and create moments of forgiveness. Last year, this room was full. This year again, this room was full for Forgiveness Day. Sister Kathy has achieved in every possible way as a scholar and as a teacher. In addition, she has taken us along on an experiment. She queried, could we be a better institution putting positive energy and actions into the world? I'm very grateful that Sister Kathy invited us all along on this journey.
I can't believe I'm last. I thought they would have asked Michelle Lesher to do this because she's older than me. But thank you for asking me. I didn't say anything about Kathy's scholarship or lecturing or her books because we figured my family told me that you would all know that. So it started in the desert, kind of. It started with Desert Mother Syncletica. Long ago in 1995, on a hill where really smart young women came to study. Kathy came then, fresh from her doctorate at Catholic U. She glided, and I do mean that, she glided. I thought she should be a runway model, into the lives, and every girl here fell in love with her. Much like she would want, she made friends with us by making us friends with each other and making us friends with the women of the Christian tradition. And that's where the Desert Mother comes in. Kathy said we stood on her shoulders, hers and Ida Ford's and Dorothy Day and Mary of Magdala and all the Marys and Thea Bowman and Jane DeShanel and both Teresas, the big one from Avila and the little flower. And who could forget Julian or Hildegard? Our circle of friends widened. I made some of my best friends in Kathy's class. Actually, I made Diana come. There's Diana right there, class of 1997. Together we saw ourselves in the great women we studied. Kathy told me they needed to look through me, and that we, as a community and a church, they would tell us what we needed to be today. Kathy cried in class. I know you all know this. She would tell stories about God's action in the life of another or God's revelation in her own with a lump in her throat. She struggled, and she still struggles just to get through, to get it out. We need to hear it. She didn't claim to be a mystic, but she sure wanted us to understand that those mystics didn't just experience God and go away from the world and keep it to themselves on a mountain somewhere, but that seeing and experiencing God was not for us to keep, but to share, to bring people along. How can anybody love something so much that it spills out of them and fills other people with that love? It's irresistible. Me at 22, first year teaching high school. I cried every night. Kathy said two things. The most powerful thing in the room is what those students think of each other. And if you make the student feel good in her skin, you can teach her anything. Say less. That's what they say now, by the way. Say less. One thing about people who cry, they laugh just as easy. Kathy used to sit up in the dorm lounge and eat frozen yogurt with us. And we would read our papers to each other, peer review style. Thank you for teaching me to write the strongest statement of purpose in the universe. I never blew dried a rock before, but I did for Kathy when she created one of only 2 forgiveness gardens in the world. And I didn't understand why I was painting face paint on a rock, but Kathy said, it's face your pain, which made more sense. The Institute of Forgiveness is Kathy's vocation within a vocation. Kathy went to Rwanda and she listened like a mystic would to learn how to forgive from people who chose every single day to work to reconcile from the most horrible crimes imaginable. Kathy leaned into Eddie Hillesum. Life is beautiful no matter what. You are more than the worst thing you've ever done. That was what Helen Prejean would say, because we all went to see that movie at the Ritz. Susan Sarandon made the best SSJ, didn't she? So beautiful. In fact, when Helen, I shouldn't get off track, but when Helen Prejean was here speaking, she literally told us to tell everybody that actually Susan Sarandon came. Not her. She said, just tell everybody it was Susan Sarandon. Fast forward, last year when my son David, then 13, asked Aunt Kathy to be his confirmation sponsor. David's very serious and a student of history at his young age, and he watched Hotel Rwanda. So he said, I have to go straight to the top for my sponsor. He could not think of a holier person, and she was there. Kathy always shows up for you. I can't speak of my love for Kathy because it's too big, and they've already taken so much out of this speech that I wrote that I can't add anything else. But I do believe that the mystics, from what I learned, seem to have the same desire. I live now, it's from Paul, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. I think the mystics look through you, Kathy, at us with a triumphant, you go girl. Not sure what retirement looks for you, but I hope it means you hang out with me more. Beauty is as beauty does, and so beautiful things are yet to come. You ask me and so many others to whom you've committed your heart to take the cup with both hands, and I try each day. Our dear friend Jessica Powers says, the saints and mystics have a name for that deep inwardness of flame. Kathy, everyone around you knows it. Thank you, I love you.
Wow, I know that we have heard so many beautiful things said this afternoon about so many people, and that plus the opportunity to just look out at these beautiful faces in front of me now just makes me doubly aware of just what an immeasurable gift Chestnut Hill College has been for me for the last 28 years. And so I know that my family, my friends, all those people that I love are profoundly understanding of how my life has been shaped by all that Chestnut Hill College has meant for me. And so as I think about, I just keep looking, now I just look at Aida. I could stop to speak about every one of you, and I know we don't have time. So let me just say that as I think about moving on from here to the next phase of my life, which simply means not being a full-time faculty member here, but still doing whatever I can. So with that phase of my life, I promise one thing, and that is that I carry you with me. Because you live in me, and I live in you. And I just pray that that bond that connects us will strengthen us to be gifts for one another, for our families, for all those people that we meet, and for the needs of our world, that together we can help our Earth home become one of inclusive love, where all people can feel that they are welcome, that they matter, that they belong. And because Chestnut Hill College has witnessed this in so many ways, I know that others will receive this gift from us. So I just pray that I can, in some way, return even a fraction of the gifts that I've received from being a part of Chestnut Hill community. So thank you so much.